Is office coffee in 2026 actually better than cafe coffee? If you've walked into a modern corporate office lately, you'll know it's no longer international roast and a dusty kettle in the corner. Today's workplace coffee is automated, data-driven, hospitality level, and in some cases outperforming traditional cafe setups in consistency and scale. So what happened? How do we go from click-clack machines in the 90s to fully connected coffee ecosystems that report back in real time? And what does this mean for the future of cafes, baristas, automation, and even workplace culture? Our guest today has played a big role in driving this change. We're very excited to welcome Ross Scacco, founder of Procaffe, to the Coffee Lab. G'day, Ross.
Thanks for having me, guys. I love it.
Is office coffee today better than cafe coffee?
I tell my staff that it's not, so we keep on striving to make that pleasurable product, I suppose.
But it can be, and that's what you're using that as motivation.
Oh, yeah, we use it as motivation. Look, when we first started, these machines were a nightmare. They broke down. The quality of the coffee wasn't. It was better than your click-clack machines with the international roast. I don't know if is that product still going?
I think you can still get it.
Oh, geez. I hope I don't get sued for...
There would be rusted on people that think that it's great too. Because the thing is, a change is a change, right?
Yeah,
so even if it's a change for the better, it's still a change. But,
but we've come a long way. I mean, it's phenomenal after, 28 years plus where we started and where we are now. It's amazing.
So take us back to the start, 1995? Further back?
Yeah, further back. I started at Lavazza. I worked for the Valmorda family. There was a little brand called Lavazza that didn't have a food service division. My cousin worked there and he said, look, listen, I'm going to Italy. They've paid for me to go to Italy to see Lavazza at Torino. Would you like to stay for 6 weeks? I said, yeah. I was in hospitality at the time. I'd just come back from Japan playing football and basically... I went there and stayed there for 6 weeks and loved it. Didn't know anything about coffee. Had no idea. Bluffed my way the whole 6 weeks.
Fake it till you make it.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you made it yet?
I don't know. We're still striving. So after 6 weeks, the CEO called me in the office. He goes, "Did you enjoy it?" I said, "Mate, this is fantastic. This is great." And he said, "Do you want to stay?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And then we started Lavazza Food Service.
So when was that?
92, I think I got back from Japan. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. And the rest was history. Lavazza really, really took off. I'd like to say it was me, but there was some marketing behind it. But, back in those days, the funny thing was that the reps were working, they worked 9 to 5, and hospitality didn't work like that. So my best time was I used to go there about 10:30, 11 o'clock when they were knocking off. I'd sit at the bar. Either I'd get the account or I'd ask one of the waitresses out. That's what I'd be doing. Sometimes they'd say no.
Well, it's business development either way, right?
Yeah. But, they were great days. They were phenomenal days and met some characters. The competition was...
Yeah, what was the competition like?
That they were just funny guys. Don't touch their space. If a machine broke down, your machine's going to be in the street in 20 minutes.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. If you got an account, your machine had to go in and the other one was coming out and you'd get dirty looks. If you had a problem, you'd meet at Pellegrini's. You'd sit down together and you'd sort it out.
Because there were less players then, right?
Yeah,
like there
it was the usual subjects. Yeah. The Genovese family.
Yep.
Right. So I couldn't get mad with them because if they ever stole an account from me, they'd ring me and they were really polite. They'd say, "Look, we've got your machine in the back. Would you like us to deliver it back to you?" And I couldn't get shitty with them. It's like the other ones, you'd find your machine in the street or in the back, in the back to pick up. But, to this day, I love Adam. I know he's moved to Sydney, comes back here, but I couldn't get upset with the Genovese family.
Tell us about the St Kilda. What was the cafe that you told me about?
Yeah, my first breakthrough. Paul Valmorda said to me, "Mate, if you get the Dogs Bar, you can have anything you want." Because I told him we had a loose pipeline sort of meeting that I'm working on the Dogs Bar, and he goes, "Mate, I'll give you anything you want. Anyhow, I picked up the Dogs Bar. I was so excited, mate. Like, it was sensational. Back in those days, we were using 7 grams. It was doing 40 kilos a week.
Wow, it's a lot of cups.
Yeah, and basically what we did in those days is we put our coffee in but used the competitors' cups.
Just to use them up, or
No, just to make sure that no one complained about the change in the coffee.
A change is a change.
A change is a change.
Yeah, we get back to change.
Yeah.
Where people don't like change.
Yeah, right.
So anyhow, we're 1 day in, or 2 days in the morning, I get a phone call. Say, mate, you got any cups? So what do you mean? We agreed that, we'd leave the cups for 2 weeks. He goes, mate, we need cups. I go, what's going on? He goes, Giancarlo's come in here. And Giancarlo Giusti from Grinders, he's gone and he has smashed every cup. The place is full. He goes, you're not putting this shit of coffee in my machine. Boom, boom, boom. Boom! So, mate, I get some cups, race down there, and then I see this waiter. He's just sweeping up the crockery. It's just unbelievable. And he goes, it's just, so they were some times. And there was literal hatred between them. They loved each other, but they hated each other. It was just sensational.
Probably a bit like sport in a way.
Yeah.
Like you've got you respect each other, but you've got a deep competitiveness where. Yeah,
all sounds very ethnic.
You go all out.
Oh, I was, and Sam Buffalino, who's retired. Well, I don't know if he's retired. I have to ring him and say if he's 80 not out and still goes and still selling stuff. But I used to get close to getting his account, and he would just know the right time to come in.
Yeah.
And I used to hate him for that.
I've heard some incredible stories.
Oh, mate,
some
I don't know.
stuff.
Did you have my car tapped or?
So that's the early 90s. When and how did Procaffe come about?
Well, what happened was I got poached to go to a small goods company that the family had bought as a general manager, and the biggest problem was that it was probably to do with the management and the utilisation of funds. I couldn't kick the shit out of that business anymore, and another thing too, I really didn't enjoy it because I had this experience of building stuff, and I like building businesses. I don't like, I'm not that guy.
Retrofitting them.
Yeah, no, you got to understand your lane, and I'm not a kicker of businesses. I can't, make people redundant. And to this day, I've got a beautiful HR lady who, if there's any hard conversations, she'll make those hard conversations. It's just not me. I can't do it.
Not your territory.
No, I want to be the nice guy. And then what happened was that my dad had retired, and my mum got me one day and she said, please, for the love of God, find him something to do. Please, he's driving me crazy. And I had a mate of mine who had just started in the office market. I don't know if you heard of Luca Giorgella?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you can get him on here, you need to get him on here. I mean, this guy came with a suitcase, started Sega
Fredo in WA.
Yeah.
He's gone on to start Slingshot, a coffee grinder manufacturing company.
Wow.
Yeah. So he said, Ross, bring your father here.
To Perth?
Yeah, it's probably bad Italian accent.
It's not bad.
And I said, Dad, go see Luca, because he started in the office market, and see how you go. So
hey,
flies
Dad,
over there.
Go to Perth. Yeah.
He flies over there. Luca spends 2 days, more than Luca's ever spent with me, so he must have liked my dad. And my dad comes back with these 10 automatic coffee machines. And do you remember the brand Scacco?
Yeah.
So do you remember those brown push-button Scacco machines?
Yeah, I know the one that you mean.
I mean, what's the best way to describe it? It was something out of a porn movie. They were shocking.
It wouldn't look out of place in the Wolf of Wall Street office.
They were the first of its kind, like they were revolutionary with that, the plastic piston and stuff.
Yep.
And they had still had the manual counters on them.
Yeah. Tick, yeah.
So he brought them back. He had 10 machines, and I wasn't happy where I was. And I used to do his books. And at the end of the month, I'd do his books, and he used to do it on a cup count, $1 a coffee. I said, Dad, that's a bit rich. He goes, oh, no, they pay. Don't worry. He goes, we give them good service. They pay. Don't worry. Anyhow, had a look, and he only had 4 machines out. And $900. I said, Dad, how many days a week do you do? He goes, oh, the hardest thing is knocking on doors. I don't like it, knocking on doors. He said, but I like when I go to take the cup reads. I said, how long does that take? He goes, oh, maybe a day, half a day. I said, Dad, we're starting a business. And he goes, yeah. He was retired.
Yeah.
So he went into Connie, he goes, we're starting. And back in those days, it was funny. It was a transformation of his character. It gave him another lease for life. Basically, he was known as Salvatore. He changed his name to Sal. He was Sal. He was in coffee now.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And he was always good with his hands. Like, I was hopeless. I can't even hold a screwdriver to this day. And he was great with his hands. And when we started, I thought it was going to be really easy because, you know, I had all the knowledge of Lavazza and everything. But no, it was tough. I couldn't even get a lease. So I went to about 5 people to get a lease. So we found one bloke who got us a lease for a Toyota Yaris. So we had this Toyota Yaris, which was so impractical. And we basically, I used to do the sales in the morning because we found that people, I don't know, something about morning sales for corporates. It was, you know, make the appointments in the morning. And my dad used to service the machines in the afternoon, and we shared the car.
Well, it's good utilisation of the Yaris at least.
Yeah. And then from there we got a Toyota. We couldn't afford it, but my dad said, you only buy Japanese. For some reason, and you know, to this day, I've had other vans. You can't beat a Japanese van. So that's the imprint that my dad made on us. You know, so we bought this High Ace, and the rest is history. You know, like what do we got? I don't know, over 1,000 customers. We've got 19 people. It's been great journey. It's been amazing.
So other than only ever buying Japanese vehicles, what else did you learn from your dad in that early time? What did he teach you about business?
What did he teach me about business? My dad, there's a difference between a rich man and a prosperous man. My dad was a prosperous man. He'd look you in the eye, he'd shake your hand, and he'd honour his word. Ultimately, later on, we realised that I got told off. I was 4 years in. I used to do handshakes with people in corporate, but unfortunately, we were in a world where that's not existing anymore, so we had to do commercial agreements. But my dad was very much, his integrity was second to none. You know, if he said he was going to do something, he'd do it. And he had this saying, when he'd say to people, I used to cringe. Now I don't cringe anymore, but he used to say, look, if we don't have it, we'll get it. If we can't get it, we'll make it. And if we can't make it, you don't need it. And
what a great philosophy.
Yeah. You know, and that was his thing. You know, like the first pod machine, because the pod machines didn't work, the steam, and you know how, like a single boiler, they had heat exchangers, the milk was rubbish. And he said, no, we're going to put a commercial boiler into them. I go, Dad, you can't do that. So we travelled, we got this Fiat, and we picked it up, and we went to see our roaster in Belluno. In those days, we imported coffee. We still do, but we use local coffee because that's the market now. But we got this Fiat, we drove, and we had 4 appointments, and everyone said, no, can't do it. And then we found this company called GMAS, which used to do the parts for Scacco. And the owner and the founder was one of the founding directors. Yep. Right? He wasn't a major director, but he said, yeah, I think we can do it. I've got one of these at home. So my dad hops in the car and goes with him. And he goes, Ross, you coming? I go, okay. We go to his house, and he's got this machine, and he's retrofitted this commercial boiler in there. And he goes, look at the steam. He puts the steam on. He goes, oh. You know, now we laugh about it, but in those days, like, wow, we've solved the milk problem. Like, this is nuts.
And these were the ESE, like paper pods as well.
That's right.
For the coffee.
Yeah.
Have you seen those, Tom? They're almost, for lack of a better expression, almost like a tea bag.
Oh,
if you like, and they're round and sealed.
Yeah.
And they're actually, I don't know, I would argue possibly better quality than some of the other capsule options around on the market still. But they haven't stayed with the industry as much. But back in the day, that was it.
And you're right, Dave. Look, Nespresso, Nestle, and Lavazza with the capsule pods, unbelievable.
Yeah.
The marketing, everything. But I don't know, you guys might be... Do you remember VHS and Better videos?
Yeah.
Better was a better product, yeah? Pardon the pun. It just lost.
Yeah.
It just lost. But yeah, that's and the funny thing is when we first got those, we got them as samples and we didn't know what they were. So we got some boiling water and we were dipping them.
Like tea bags.
Like tea bags. You're like, oh, this doesn't work. It doesn't work. This is aqua sportica, this is dirty water. It's like, what? So we went on a learning expedition, yeah. It was amazing. But we... over the years, we created some great friendships and, people that have passed away now, pioneers. It's been an amazing journey.
And so what was at what point did you realise that this was like a viable business? Like, was there a big deal that you got that you went, oh, actually, this is good?
My dad has a lot to do with this because what resonated with me is back in the days as a strategy for the supermarkets, we had Victoria Coffee had to get all the best restaurants, and our strategy was to take them off them. Mm-hmm. So I remember South Bank. I started with one cafe in South Bank, and it was Marmadou's. It was a restaurant, Italian. By the time we had finished, out of the 11, we had 8 of those. Walters, I don't know if you remember, famous chef. He's passed away. Andrew Blake, who's still knocking around. I believe he hits a decent golf ball. Mm-hmm. He had a fantastic restaurant there. There were so many great restaurants there that we and that was our strategy. But it was sort of elite and snobby, and that wasn't a definition of us. I think we represent what we want to be. And my dad was a truck driver. So that's, one of the many things that he did, but he loved being a truck driver. And he had this thing that, a truck driver deserves to have a great coffee. And that was the philosophy, that sort of the DNA of how Procaffe started to evolve. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we just did the national rollout for Maddox Lawyers. We deal with the top end of town. But we believe that everyone has a right to a great coffee. And that's probably what drives us to say, you know what? We want to produce just as good a coffee in the workspace as you can get out on the street.
And how important is coffee culturally? Not only within a workplace, but, your view on what coffee does for people? I
reckon it's glue. I really, in the old days, you'd meet up at the pub for a beer. Now, what do we say?
Meet for a coffee, yeah.
Yeah, let's meet for a coffee.
Yeah.
And, over a coffee, it might be 2 girls, catching up and complaining about their husband and being desperate about the state, and us blokes need to be better in, at looking at that. Or it could be 2 friends, just catching up and having a laugh. And it could be a group of girls just getting together. They haven't seen each other for a while. And also solving problems. We live in this world, as entrepreneurs to solve problems. So around a coffee, good excuse to, flesh it out and see if we can solve something.
There's very few companies that have been able to really crack the office market, I would argue, as well, whereas you guys have really specialised and innovated within it. What's the biggest misconception about the office market? And why do you think some companies find it hard to find success in there?
You need to take a holistic approach. You can't be hell-bent on your coffee, right? Because you look at it. It's an organism of, 100-plus employees, for example. Everyone's got we're in Melbourne. We're in Australia. Everyone's got an opinion on coffee. So how do you satisfy the majority of those people? Because you're not going to satisfy everybody, because everyone's got an opinion or got a cousin who roasts coffee. I mean, how many roasters are there, Dave?
Oh, I don't even know anymore. Lost count, but it's thousands. It's even micro roasters now. It's
so I believe that it's it's the setup, it's the holistic approach, the total coffee solution. really learning about your equipment and making sure that the coffee that you've got in there, even to this day, we have roasters that come to us and say, look, how do we profile our machine in this machine? What's the right temperature? What's the right grammage? How do we get the right pour? So we've invested in knowledge. I wouldn't say I'm too knowledgeable, but the team is amazingly knowledgeable. They live it, breathe it, sleep it, look for innovation. I've always taken the time to, if there's any fair that I need to go to, you see me around town, it may be just one thing that you pick up. Always listen to people that are around coffee because you can learn things. And always, where is the best happening and how can I translate the best to what we do? And it may not be within even the coffee industry. And one of the best lessons I had was I went to Belluno, and Procaffe was bought by a Roman company that ran it into the ground. And they got this managing partner from Ernst & Young to come in and save it. I mean, we're talking about a company now 110, 120, and it was going to die. And he turned that company around, and he turned it around by focusing on quality and basically service and all the things that are standard, cliches. And I asked him, what's the most important thing? Like, I've started my business, I want to know. He goes, Ross, if you really want to learn, don't just look within your industry, look outside your industry. I think you said it to me a while back. I learned off you. You talked about cars and the car industry and how, innovative that is. And if we look to the car industry, maybe we can take some of that knowledge and what they're doing in the car industry and apply it to what we do here. Yeah. Wine. Wine, the appreciation of wine has been long before coffee. It's only now that we've got, Q graders and understanding, tasting different coffees. But, wine's been around forever. Let's look inside wine, how we can do things better.
So just before we go too much deeper, give me the elevator pitch, right? Say I'm a prospective corporate client. What is it that you're selling to me?
I'm selling you a moment. Yeah, I'm selling you a moment of peace. I'm selling you a moment of something that you can think about that is, troubling you. So you can be, I'm selling you a little bit of luxury. So you don't have to go out and get that luxury. You can have that little bit of luxury in the office. I'm selling you the opportunity to sit in front of someone and really get to talk to them. You don't just work with them. They're a colleague. With people, 1 and 1 doesn't equal 2. 1 and 1 can equal 5, 6. I'm really, I suppose I'm talking to my interest, but I really worry about this work from home. I get it, and I understand that, it gives people flexibility and they need that if they've got kids or whatever. But I don't want us to miss out on that community of working together, solving problems. And I believe that we, in our own little way, contribute to that.
You would have seen like a fairly significant cultural shift in the workplace, I assume, in the corporate world in particular, since COVID. How is that sort of playing out for you and your business?
Well, COVID taught us not to take things for granted. So I had $4.5 million worth of machines out there and they weren't being used. Yeah. It was
tough to navigate that.
It was a tough time. And now our claim to fame was, and that we weren't smart. The guy said, "What do we do, boss? Do we bring them back?" I said, "No, just leave them there. We can't store them in our warehouse." So when the market started to come back again, the machines were there. So that really helped us get through. And another thing too is, I've got to say, big corporate Australia were fantastic because they continued to honour their agreements and pay the lease. We weren't selling coffee, but one of the best things I've ever seen is one of my biggest clients. I mean, to this day, when we do a tender, they say, what contracts have you got? And I put handshake. We do an independent BP provider. His name's Jason B. And I'll never forget it. We were really on tough times. He told all his shops to pay us COD.
Wow.
Oh, mate, I was crying.
I'll never forget that.
I'll never forget it. So whatever JB wants, I'll do for JB.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So they're the relationships that you build. I get it. We have to, procurement needs to do their job, but if we provide value, I'm hoping those organisations will see beyond that.
Absolutely. And you talked about creating moments for people in workplaces. What are you also creating for the employer? Like, what is the benefit of engaging with a system like yours for a big corporate employer?
I'm not allowed to talk about a case study because the company don't want to put their name, but there's they're basically on comp coffees, and they're a large organisation, have saved $8,000 a month on comp coffees, so I'm not going down. And basically they're looking at man hours. It's obscene. Do you call them man hours now? You can't do that, can you?
Human hours.
Human hours. Jeez, sorry, that's a slip.
Faux pas.
I'm showing my age.
But ultimately, the benefit is there for the business as well.
Yeah,
on
but
both
even
sides, culturally and financially.
But even JB, he was ahead of his time. We were the first ones to put a coffee machine into a server. So he came to see me, oh my God, 29 years ago. And where I started in High Street. So I lived upstairs and there was this, you could call it a pseudo showroom.
Yep.
I could only afford 2 machines, so I had 2 machines on display. And he came in, he says, I want you to put a coffee machine in my service station. And it was BP Malvern down. I go, who's this crazy Chinaman? Like, seriously? Mate? He goes, no. I want you to put it in. Anyhow, I go, mate, I've got no petrol client. I've got no clients, so I might as well put it in. So back in those days, the machine was about $3,000.
Yep.
They're not $3,000 these days, are they?
No.
So we put it in, grinder. It was about $1,000 or something, because we put a fancy one in. And basically had it for a month and he did 2 kilos. Now, as you know, Dave, that's not good ROI.
Not a lot, no.
And he knew the conversation was coming. That's how smart. This guy's like 10 steps ahead of everybody. Grabs me, sits me out the front, I'll never forget it. And he goes, I promise you, you're not happy now. He goes, I promise you I'm going to be your biggest customer. And the way he looked me in the eye, I went, I believe this bloke. And to this day, he's up there. He's got 60 stores. He created Coffee Time.
Yes.
Amazing coffee product. Like he's really hard on his staff to make sure that the coffee comes out right. And look, there's other groups that have done a great job now, with different, I'm not saying, he's the only one, but he was one of the leaders to see the opportunity. And as you can see, as you know, fast food and all that is, coffee's become a staple,
It's the non-negotiable accompaniment now.
Yeah. I remember in the McDonald's, very, very smart. We opened a training session years ago. We were the first ones to do training. And we had it was the second one. It wasn't the first. The second course we did, we had a guy by the name of John Russell Story from England. It was fantastic. Yeah. Great trainer.
Yeah.
Anyhow, these 4 people rolled into the room and they had their folders or whatever. And I go, mate, these people are not from cafes. There's no chance. They are from Macca's. And if you look at the McDonald's story, the McCafe started from Australia and away they went. So, fast food, it's only going to get bigger, isn't it?
Well, I think the great success of them, McDonald's that is, and all of the other groups that are doing it now, you were talking about how you're not actually selling the person a coffee. You're selling them a moment. You're selling them all of these different experiences. I think that's what a lot of these groups have done really, really well. It's actually the convenience of getting a pretty good quality coffee without having to get out of your car. And that whole drive-through thing has really been the special sauce, if you like, of the success of these companies. And you can see...
Except for the actual special sauce.
Except for the special sauce itself. But it's the convenience. And like, I know this from having, younger children. Sometimes you want to be able to get a coffee, but wrangling people in and out of the car and all that stuff, or if you're on your way to an appointment, you have to just get there, but you need that refuel of the coffee. That convenience of being able to drive through nearly anywhere is...
Do you reckon we could have a chat to them,
value.
though, about not making the milk lava? Do you reckon we could...
I wouldn't want to comment about that.
I'll cop that one. Tell us, Ross, we're sort of entering the age of AI. Everyone's talking about AI. What's kind of on the technological horizon for you guys? What's a game changer that you're playing with at the moment?
So basically we've made a decision as a collective. So I say to my team, we have a management team. I don't have a general manager. So what we do is it's a collective vote across our technical department, marketing, sales. No machine will go out without IoT.
Internet of Things.
Yep. So basically we'll have push and pull technology, and that's how it's going to be. So
And
we'll
what
know...
what does that do for you?
Helps with servicing. We can diagnose a problem. Another thing too is if you look at a corporation, the poor facility managers, right? And I'm not saying that because they're the guys that we sell to, is, the light's busted.
Yeah.
There's no toilet paper.
Yeah. This door's
the air
jammed.
conditioners, we don't have any biscuits anymore.
Yep.
They cop it. What we want to do is just take that headache away. So what happens is a machine may break down because it hasn't been cleaned or whatever. The first two people may ignore it. Oh, coffee machine's on the blink. Then someone will report it back. Before it's fixed, it's 3 days. I don't need that. I don't want that. I want people enjoying coffee all the time. So for us, bang, problem. We have a lovely girl in the office who basically gets on the computer. Bang, there's a problem here. It's a brewing group. Let's get down there.
So it helps you diagnose faults in advance, recipe management,
That's
all
the
of those
future.
things where you have to send. With that in mind, though, because you've got such sophisticated systems in these office spaces and the quality's getting better and better, also paired with how good even domestic coffee preparation can be. Like, you can make pretty good coffee at home if you know how, and even if you don't know how, really, there's some good tools there. Do you think that the traditional cafe model is becoming less viable as a business because of that?
Yeah, I'm not hopeful for the traditional cafe. I'm not hopeful. If you look at the data, it's 18 months. And that's a scary number.
Hang on, what's 18 months?
An average cafe is going to last 18 months.
Oh, right. Yeah, I believe that.
It's when I started back in the day, these guys were buying buildings. Rent was 7%.
Yeah.
Rents are probably around 19, 20. You know better than me, Dave. Food costs were, if you're running them at 20%, you're an idiot. Food costs, I've heard numbers like 44%.
Yep.
Your labour, let's not talk about labour. Growing up, the local milk bar was the local milk bar, and now the local milk bar doesn't exist anymore.
So it's something that the industry almost romanticises that is maybe not good business anymore.
Yeah,
potentially.
So, now, will there be cafes that survive? Absolutely. There's good operators. There'll always be operators that. But the city. This work from home.
Yeah.
How's that hurt the city? There has to be a reflection on what sort of business model. Consumption of alcohol's gone down.
Massive. That's a major problem for a lot of companies. It's a major thing.
So where does the new footprint for a hospitality model, fine dining, only the top of the tree has survived, I remember as a kid growing up, man, you go, there were tablecloths, guy in a bow tie.
Yep.
But we started by talking about culture, right, and the cultural impact of coffee and all those other things that you've talked about. It stands to reason that this is going to have a massive impact culturally, surely, this shift that we're seeing.
But we probably need to take that dynamic and put it into another space. So we don't just do automatic machines. We've done a lot of traditional setups we call it café in the sky.
Yep.
We
in
use
the sky because of the high rise.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So we have a new machine called the Mitico, which is a hybrid machine. That technology's coming out. We've just put one in Cushman, Wakefield's head office. They're able to have 4 different types of blends. They can have whatever milk they want. You've got the romance of, everyone's a pretend barista. So you've got the romance of making a coffee when you really don't make a coffee. But, they tell you how they can make a coffee.
Yeah.
It's, you do a lever and, oh, wow, that's me, I did that.
Yeah.
That's me, I did that. So all that stuff's, is probably where we need to think. If you go to you've been to the north of Europe, you've been to Copenhagen and, those bakeries, they seem to have, auto machines.
Yep.
That are behind the bar, which replace the traditional machines. We'll probably have to reframe things. You've got the guys in the States, what are they called? Blue Bottle, what are they called? Do you know?
Yeah, there's there's Bluestone Lane who are doing more the traditional style. There's like Blank Street as well in the UK.
Yeah, okay.
So the US as well.
So I forget the name. Their model is small square meterage. So I want to survive. New York is obscenely, Sydney's probably more expensive. So we want to get our square meterage down. And they want their stuff to be forward facing.
Yep.
Don't worry about that's going to make a great coffee. We're going to press a button. It's going to make a great coffee. We want to be forward facing. We want to talk about what you do on the weekend. How your kids.
That's the hospitality experience in inverted commas,
So basically what they've done is they've reframed how they're going to interact with a customer.
Yeah.
And we know that, and I've learnt this through petroleum, is coffee's a habit. It's a drug. And when we're used to going to a particular place, we identify with that place, that drug, and we it's very hard to change your cafe. It's very hard to change your coffee habits, Every January I try to go off coffee. It's a killer.
Yeah.
So I have a migraine for a week, and I just do it because I don't want to be addicted. But I tell you, when February 1st comes,
go straight back.
straight in. Mate, and I look for the best blend that you can possibly, and I have that first sip. Oh my God, I've been in denial. It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. So you talked a lot about how things are changing in the state of flux for the industry. What's an opportunity for you at the moment?
We're a predominantly Melbourne-based company, although we do a lot of national deals. It's sad, but the opportunity is that we're probably going to have to move to Sydney. We're probably going to have to leave Victoria and we're going to have to move to Sydney.
Why?
It hasn't been conducive to business. I don't know why I got invited. There was a property seminar at one of the major law firms, maybe because we provide the coffee, maybe. And there were some heavy hitters in that room. And they were saying, mate, we can't get anything out of the ground. There's 19 taxes before we start. And it's sad because, Victoria used to be, and I don't want this to be political, but I just love Melbourne. I loved what hospitality was and still is to a degree. So there's still some great operators out there. And when the heavy hitters saying we're going to Queensland, they're serious entrepreneurs that are not believing in this state. What does that mean for the rest of us? So, I don't probably leave that alone but I'm passionate about Melbourne. We punch way above our weight. You know, we came here. I remember the first days, used to go to Italy. They used to look at us like we got two heads. What do we know about coffee? We know nothing. You know, like, yeah, but I tell you what, we were sponges and we wanted to learn and we loved it and we were passionate about it. And I tell you what, when you work in coffee, I don't know about you, Dave, it's hard to get out. I spent,
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave's been trying for years.
mate, it's an Al Pacino moment. Every time I try to get out,
Drags you back in.
Yeah, because it just gets into you.
Yeah.
It's part of you.
I think from the sounds of it as well, like the success that you guys are having is that you're thinking outside the box and offering those hybrid solutions. And part of my opinion, for what it's worth as well, part of the issue that we're having as an industry, and I think it's more of it's a human condition. We think in absolutes, so we think it's got to be black or white. So you go, office coffee can only have a fully automatic machine, a cafe can only have a traditional machine, AI is going to replace all the people, no one's going to have a job. That's all these absolutes. So it's not a black or white thing, the answer is actually grey, whereas you're going to have to blend these things, which it sounds like you're doing in the office space. Cafes are going to have to integrate automation in a more serious way into their cafes. People won't be replaced by AI. They will use AI tools. Yes, there may be less people in some jobs, but there will be other jobs as well. So I think innovation and having these hybrid approaches that you're having are something that people need to pay attention to, for sure.
I think you're spot on. I think we need to reframe the way we offer hospitality. As you know, the facility management, Eliza Harper, she was from Cushman and Wakefield. She's gone elsewhere, but she said something. You know, when you have light bulb moments, she says, "Mate, after COVID," she says, "Ross, if you want to crack this again, you've got to bring a hotel experience to the office market."
Yeah,
and that resonated with me. Like, we've got to bring a hotel experience. I say to my guys, it's got to be a hotel experience. Got to be a hotel experience. They're sick of it. Hey, guys, are we bringing a hotel experience? Because that's what we need to do. Oh, by the way, have we done a hotel experience? Well, we have these coffee experience programs. So what happens is there's always one guy in the back. He's usually an engineers, who's an expert, right? And you have to convince them because they know better than you, right? Because the engineers, and basically we've stopped all that because we get buy-in. We do a coffee experience. Choose the coffee that you want. It's not up to me. I used to be a snob. I used to say this is technically this is the best coffee. It's not about that. What do you enjoy? It's no different to the wine. You know, my mum likes Moscato. What can I do? Do you know what I mean? She loves it. You know, that's what she enjoys. So, you know, I'm not going to give you scrapings from the street, but I'm going to give you the best product that I know possible, and I'm going to listen to other people. You know, to this day, I don't roast coffee. Everyone, you know, I've been told so many times, you're an idiot. With the tonnage that you do, why don't you roast coffee? It's not my thing. I'm not an expert. Let's leave it to the experts who know how to make great coffee. Then I can decide on, you know, we'll have our own brands that we own, and we've been blessed to have our own brands. I mean, we were fortunate enough to be one of the first ones to do an organic coffee under the Botanica name. I think 7 Miles, they were Ballaroma back in the day. So, look, it's about providing what people want, and you can't please everybody in coffee because everyone's got their own. And God bless them, let them have their opinions. It's important. You know,
they're paying for it.
I've got a friend of mine. She's up in Sydney. I'm an expert on coffee. I have my soy latte. I'm an expert, and it's okay, right? It's okay. You're an expert. That's how you like it. It's fine. You know.
There's one thing, we're fresh out of time. There's one thing that I want to ask you about, and it's almost going back to the beginning in terms of the culture that you've established within your business and how important people are to you. When we spoke before this, you told me a story about Dubai Airport, and I want you to tell me that story again.
Oh, so our head technician, our service manager, what happened was I had I just cracked it, right? We're starting to make some money. After 6 years, I was like, I'm going business class.
Yep.
I'm going business class.
Treat yourself.
I'm treating myself. Yeah, I'm going. So we get to Dubai Airport and we're in one of the lounges and I'm hanging for a coffee. Like oh mate, I need a coffee. 14 hours.
Was it February the 1st as well?
Oh. So no, it wasn't. But after 14 hours, I wanted a coffee. I like a smoker, yeah?
Yeah.
I was bad.
Yeah, you were jonesing.
Oh, I was jonesing. What's jonesing? and I walk up and got, sorry, Mr. Caramali, sorry, I apologise. There's a Caramali machine. Back in those days, they weren't the best auto machines. I think Rick Mead's got an opinion on that as well. Let's not, that's an in-joke, yeah? So for people not to, yeah. And I go, oh, shit. And I wanted an espresso. I go, I'm not going to get a good espresso here. Anyhow, I push the button. You know, hey, you got to gamble. And this coffee comes out. I go, that's an espresso. That's half decent. I drink it. I go, mate, this is awesome. I go, what, like really? Anyhow, wanted to ring a mate of mine, which I've done a lot of business with, a guy by the name of Dennis Girardi, and telling him that, look, I'll be in Venice on this date, we'll catch up or whatever. I said, Dennis, I'll see you on this date. I go, by the way, man, I've had a coffee out of a Caramali. It's fucking excellent. It was brilliant. He goes, I know the guy who looks after all those machines. I go, do you? Does he want a job? Yeah. You want to speak to him? He's in the car with me. So we got talking and then we sponsored Marjon to come here and, mate, he's been with us ever since. He's one of the integral parts of our business. He's been amazing. He's an avionics engineer, believe it or not. And he's always striving, tinkering, wanting to do better for our business, and he gets off on it. He loves it. Yeah. Well,
it's a really nice sort of full circle in the sense that we've talked about the importance of people and moments and culture and that sort of stuff, and I think that really speaks to your kind of view on that, and I think that's really lovely. We are completely out of time though, so we've got 3 questions that we ask everybody before they wrap up on the show. The first one is if you could give your, say, 20-year-old self a little bit of advice, what would it be?
Oh, learn how to invest.
That's good advice.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
All that money I made in Japan, don't ask me where it went. I had fun, but.
Absolutely.
What's the most important lesson that you've learned over your career?
Be humble, man. Keep your feet on the piedi per terra, feet on the ground. You know, everyone's important. Everybody's important.
Yep.
And if you could start a new business tomorrow, maybe not coffee, maybe something else, what would it be?
I wouldn't start a new business because every time I've started a new business, I've had a nosebleed.
Ross, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Ross.
Appreciate it.